Hello there and welcome to Wednesday. Yeah, it is Wednesday, July the 22nd, 2026, World Brain Day. It is also John Staunton's birthday. Not sure if they're connected, but there you go. A big happy birthday to country and Irish singing star John Staunton, Westport native who lives out in Chicago, but is home for the holidays, home for the summer holidays, I should say, and gigging around the Westport area. So watch out for John Staunton at a live music venue at a pub in Westport, and doing the Cozy Joe's residency Sunday nights, 7 o'clock. So, great Irish music. And I imagine this Sunday, it could be off the charts. But anyway, welcome along, friends. We're live here on Global Irish Radio. It's the Daily Crack Show with me, Sean G. The little program that we're doing now, Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays. That's our summertime schedule. We're a bit like the politicians. We don't do a tap. Anyway, it's good to be back with you live and on the air. dailycrack.com is where you'll find our home online. And as I say, we're with you for the 3 o'clock hour, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Keep me up to speed on all that you need to know, your daily dose of crack. By the time you leave us at 4 o'clock, hopefully you can stay around for the hour. By the time you leave us, you should be well informed and well up to date and aware of what's happening here in Mayo. And there's lots happening in Mayo. We are in the All-Ireland again. Boy. But let's start with the weather. Very pleasant weather here in the west today and across County Mayo, across, I say, much of Ireland. Not necessarily, well, definitely not heatwave conditions that we've been experiencing these past few weeks. And, nobody's complaining, to be honest, which is very unusual, I should add. Sunshine and a cool breeze. That's what's on the menu here in Mayo, at least. And as I say, lots of people out enjoying a nice walk today. It's good walking weather, and it's also good sleeping weather, as opposed to last week where people were just weren't getting a wink of sleep. So the irritability index and all of that, they were grumpy. But this week everybody's happy, they're getting their sleep in again. It's a little cooler out there. So we hope you're well wherever in the world you are this Wednesday, and thanks for being with us on the Daily Crack. The hype, it is building here in County Mayo, I can tell you, in the run up to the All-Ireland final this coming Sunday. People are going nuts, in other words. Yeah, there's Mayo flags everywhere. Anywhere you can put a Mayo flag, there is a Mayo flag. People are painting the town, painting the county red and green. I wouldn't say there's a drop of red paint left in any of the hardware stores. Cars are being painted red and green. Houses are being painted red and green. You might see some of them on your social media feeds. A fella down there in Belmullet painted the whole one half of the house red and the other half green. Farm sheds are being painted red and green. And the silage bales, all that, even the poor sheep. Will you say a prayer for the poor sheep that they survived this All-Ireland football final? Nobody is immune to the madness, and Midwest Radio broadcasting live from various spots across the county this week. They were in Castlebar this morning, the focal point of the live broadcast and the celebrations. Main Street, Castlebar. Never seen so much activity or hype since God knows when. But anyway, they were outside Mick Byrne's pub. And meanwhile, a little further up the town in the mall, they are erecting a big screen TV so everybody can congregate. I think we might go there on Sunday, because that seems to be the focal point in the county, in Castlebar at least. And as I say, lots of people will gather there. I was a little surprised that they didn't put it in McHale Park on the GAA grounds, but they're putting it in the centre of the town, which is the mall, which is fine. And lots of people will congregate there. And we hope that the weather cooperates, and we hope that the football cooperates, and there's something to celebrate afterwards. But anyway, that's where people will be heading. That's where they're going, and as I say, lots of people talking about the big game. There's plenty of hype in the county, and sure, that's okay. As Andy Moran has given us permission to hype things up, and that's exactly what people are doing. And I see, what do I see? I see that the Dublin legend, there's a lot of coverage, as you can imagine, in the papers today as well, the build up to this big game. Not a word about Kerry. No, there's plenty about Kerry too, but we're only reading the stories about Mayo. Dublin legend, we're a bit biased being here in the county, but anyway, Dublin legend and Mayo villain Diarmuid Connolly has made a shock claim, saying he thinks the Westerners will finally end their All-Ireland curse this Sunday. So there you go. That's rather interesting, isn't it? Andy Mornside, as you say, they haven't won the All-Ireland since 1951, but Diarmuid Connolly thinks it's possible we could do it, and he's talking up the team and talking about Kobe as well, and pointing out a lot of his strengths, and he does have a lot of strengths. He's only a young lad, he's 18, he's our shining star of this Mayo team, and it could be his first and last All-Ireland, because as you know, he's planning to head off to Australia for the Australian rules football for a career there, because they don't get paid by the GAA, and who could blame the young lad? You know, he's got a very promising future in that sport, and so he can capitalise and monetise it by going to Australia. He cannot do that here. But anyway, we hope that we only need him. We hope that we can let him go. If we don't win, if we perish the thought, we shouldn't even be thinking that way. But yeah, he's going to be with us on the 26th. That's all that matters for now. All our attention and all our focus is on that 26th. So next Sunday for the All-Ireland, and hopefully, maybe if he win, well, if we win and the excitement and the experience is so great, he might decide to stick around. But anyway, that's the story for another conversation. Lots of people writing in the papers today as well about the big game. And there's a piece in the Irish Daily Star today by Gary Doyle. And he says, we won't let the underdog tag stop us dreaming of Sam Maguire. Andy Moore knows Mayo will start Sunday's All-Ireland final as underdog, says Gary Doyle, and he knows that this has been a championship also like none other, and it has been a championship like none others. There's been a few surprises, from Down winning in Letterkenny to Westmeath's Leinster triumph, and he points to another surprises in the championship as well, and he says, so why not one more surprise? Why not, Gary? Why not? We could live with one more surprise, and that being Mayo getting the better of Kerry on this coming Sunday. And he says as well, talking about Andy Moore and his preparation for the big game, he says, Andy certainly won't be talking to his players about 1951 or the All-Ireland finals that Mayo have lost in the intervening years. History has enough people to remember that. His job is to make sure his players don't get carried away, and instead that they... his message to the players will be possibilities, and the key word is opportunity. So that's what Andy Moran will be focusing on. And when I think of possibilities, I think of Joe Biden, because oftentimes when he's asked, to describe America, the word he would describe, he'd describe America as a country of possibilities. Here he is.
Oh, one more thing. Mayo for Sam!
That's Mayo. That's Mayo Joe. Even he is rooting for Mayo for Sam. But yeah, that's a piece that's going around the internet for when he visited Mayo and Ballina, the home of his ancestors. And it just goes to show, we're told it was Michael Ring that told him to stick that part in at the end of the speech. And it's still relevant today. It will be many, many more years into the future, I suspect. But anyway, that's Mayo Joe saying Mayo for Sam, and that just goes to show how astute a politician Michael Ring was, and a clever little insert at the end of the speech. But yeah, possibilities is what Andy Moran is talking about with his players in the run-up to the final, and it's a great word, and it's open to so much interpretation, and of course opportunity, another great word as well. Those are words that will be bandied about in the dressing room and whatnot. But as you can imagine, there's lots of talk and lots of hype, but lots of coverage. And I'm sure the situation is very, very similar down there in Kerry as well. But they're well used to it. They don't get too excited at the prospect of being in another All-Ireland final. But there's still they take their football very seriously down there as well. Both teams and lots of people from both counties will make their way up, of course, on Saturday night for the Up for the Match special that takes place at the earlier time. Just to remind you, earlier time now of 8 o'clock. Don't be missing out on it like a lot of people did for the hurling one, because most people expected, that's a tradition that goes hand in hand with the final. It's been going on for a lot of years now at this point, but a lot of people might have missed it because they aired it a little bit earlier and it was done a little bit different this time. And you might be asking, why was it done a little bit different time? And if you were listening on Monday, I think I mentioned it's because RTE have outsourced some of their programs and the production of those programs, and one of those is Up for the Match. There's talk eventually that the Late Late Show and other big shows will be outsourced and produced off grounds and by outside production companies rather than by RTE and RTE studios and RTE staff and all that. It's probably the reason why Des Cahill wasn't presenting this year. Daithí O'Shea was brought in, and it was a little bit different, and it came to you not from RTE studios, but it came from Croke Park. I think it's not that I don't like change. Sometimes I do like change, but I think I prefer the old format and the gathering in the studio and the live performances. And maybe it's just that I don't like change. maybe we'll get used to this new format and having it take place in Croke Park. It just seemed a little bit too bright outside to be watching, singing and all that kind of stuff. But there you go. Check it out yourselves. It's on Saturday night, up for the match. Again, 8 o'clock the earlier time, so you won't want to be missing out on that. Now, Fergus has informed us about Plan A and Plan B. Have you heard about Plan B and Plan A, or Plan A and Plan B? Well, we're talking about the GAA now and their plans for what happens on Sunday. Apparently they have a Plan A and they have a Plan B, and you're wondering what's that all about? Well, it's very simple, actually. Well, it is now that I know. Fact checker Fergus never wrong and always keeping us abreast of what's happening in the world of sport and elsewhere as well. We don't take ourselves too seriously here. You shouldn't either, but sometimes we make mistakes, and then we have our fact checker Fergus to get us back on track. So anyway, let's you heard it here first maybe. Plan A is to keep the invaders off the pitch. Kerry fans are so used to winning, according to Fergus, that they just wait for the speech and then they head for the hills, or maybe a few bars, and have a few drinks before they head home to celebrate a little bit more low key. That's Plan A. So if it's Plan A, we'll be hoping for Plan B though. We don't want Plan A. I don't like Plan A at all, and I suspect a lot of Mayo people don't like Plan A either. We're rooting for Plan B. And you may not know what Plan B, but anyway, what it is, if Plan B goes into operation, Fergus tells me, on Sunday in Croke Park, it will mean that Mayo have won they've won the All-Ireland final for the first time in 75 years. And the crowd will go nuts. There's no other way to put it. They're going to go mad. All hell will break loose. And Plan B is basically telling the very decent stewards to step aside, get out of the way, move, and let the invaders invade the pitch. Let them at it. They have been on the pitch for an All-Ireland winning final for the county since 1951. No point trying to stop them. So that is Plan B, and watch out for that. As I say, we'll be rooting. We'll be hoping for Plan B, where all hell breaks loose and the stewards are just back off and let the lucky people who are in the I was going to say the audience, in the stands, onto the park, onto the field, onto the pitch, to celebrate what is long overdue. Sam Maguire coming back to his home in County Mayo. There you go. And loads of people looking for tickets. I'm having texts, and if anybody knows, this might be a stupid thing to put out there, but if you have any tickets, do let me know, because I'm getting texts and messages from people I haven't heard from in a while, and they are keen, particularly my American friends, coming home to watch the game, and they haven't got the tickets yet, and they're hoping beyond hope that they'll be able to get up here. So if anybody knows anybody who has a set of tickets, that's the great thing about All-Ireland finals and stuff like that. People who haven't spoken for maybe a year, maybe years, suddenly texts begin being exchanged as the search for tickets becomes frantic. So if you know of anyone, let us know. They are as scarce as gold dust. studio@gir.ie. We'll be waiting for your email on that front. That's also the email if you want to get in touch with us here at the programme. Love to hear from you. studio@gir.ie. We are the Daily Crack Show, and dailycrack.com is where you'll find us online. And check us out if you haven't already done so. We have everything you need to know to get your day off to a flying start there. studio@gir.ie. And of course, I want to tell you as well, oh boy, lots to talk about on the programme today. There's lots going on, and say more than just Mayo and the All-Ireland, plenty of other things happening as well, and we're going to come to all of that. Papers can't seem to agree on a single story. We'll come to the papers, but just to let you know and share with you details of our brand new website, thedailycrack.com, the companion website to this programme. And on there you'll find all that you need to know to get your day off to a flying start. The daily papers, not just the websites. Well, there's a link to all the major newspaper websites, but also a link to the front pages. If you're one of those people, a traditionalist or a purist like me, who likes to see the headlines, the front pages of the papers, you can do that at thedailycrack.com. You can also listen to what it says in the papers. There's a cross-section of all the major stories in the papers, and again, you'll find links to that at thedailycrack.com. There you'll also find links to what's trending in Ireland on Twitter, or X I should say. What are the top what are we searching for on Google? All that important stuff. The weather, of course, and lots more too. Links to all the top news sites. It's where we find all of our stories and all of our crack. Best crack you'll find anywhere, dailycrack.com. Check it out. Links to podcasts, links to radio stations. All the Irish radio stations are on there as well, so you can browse for your favourite. And speaking of podcasts, where's that these days? And great to take with you on your daily walk, build it into your routine, incentivize you to get out there. And we sat down with the Ranter on, was it Tuesday night? Monday night. So the latest edition of the Irish Ranter dropped on Monday night. You can check that one out. Lots of good rants on there. And as I say, the top 10 countdown of all the most listened to podcasts, you can check that out at dailycrack.com. We link you to the top 10 countdown and, of course, all of the most popular podcasts here in Ireland. So you can find one that fits or suits. Maybe it's the Daily Crack, and give us a follow. We're on dailycrack.com. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you find your podcasts, you'll find us on there as well. All right, right again. Daily Crack, Sean G here with you, and let's take a look at what it is saying in our papers this Wednesday. And the papers, as I say, can't seem to agree on a single story for their front pages. Instead, it's a mix of stories. The Irish Times go with a picture of the new British Prime Minister. And as you know, on Monday, Andy Burnham was sworn in as the latest or the newest Prime Minister in England, the 7th in 10 years or so, the 7th since Brexit. So since their departure from Europe, holding down a job as Prime Minister seems to be a tall order in the UK. Andy Burnham has been in touch with our Taoiseach, Micheál Martin. He contacted him to congratulate him, obviously, and they've been just discussing all kinds of things, including legacy issues in the north. They discussed Ukraine, we're told, and they've also been talking about Ireland's presidency of the EU. I'm sure they had plenty to talk about. There was lots of small talk there as well. And I suppose the reset of Anglo-Irish relations that occurred under Keir Starmer will continue. There seems to be good chemistry between the two men and a warm relationship between our two nations these days. It'll be interesting to see if they'll have the big St. Paddy's Day bash next year in 10 Downing Street, a tradition started under Keir Starmer. But the analysts and the people, the pundits and the people in the know think that things will only get better in terms of Anglo-Irish relations because Andy Burnham has strong Irish connections, I think, and he's a Catholic as well, the first Catholic in over 500 years to occupy number 10. So that's the latest on that. And he's been putting together his cabinet as well. And I suppose the position or the role that we often check out when a new Prime Minister comes into number 10 is that of the Northern Irish, the Secretary of Northern Ireland. And Chris Bryant has been appointed to serve as the new Northern Irish or Northern Ireland Secretary. He was once upon a time an Anglican priest or something. He also held positions as the Labour Minister or something of that nature. So he has previous ministerial experience. Let's see what it says about him. He served as an Anglican priest before he was elected to Parliament in 2001. And as he played a role, or he was a minister for Labour or something, trade or something like that. And now he is the new Northern Ireland Secretary, and he is excited coming into the job as well. So you'll be hearing his name, I suppose, a lot more now that he is in that role. So that's the story that the Irish Times, or the lead stories on or that's the picture at least on the Irish Times today. The e-scooters ban for under 18s is still front page news as well for the Irish Times. They have a piece on that. It's a very topical story. We were talking about it on Monday, and everybody's been talking about it since, and there's been a lot of talk about these e-scooters and how dangerous they are for youngsters. So the government took action on Monday, and they made the decision that they will ban e-scooters for under 18s. So, as I say, still front page news for the Irish Times. It's also the front page lead for the Examiner, as they say, and they speculate that they say there's a prospect that there could be an outright ban period for those e-scooters, but for now it's under 18s. So, as I say, that's the front page headline on the Examiner. And for the Red Tops are going well with a tragedy that took place in a church of all places just before we go to the Red Tops and that big story that's dominating, as I say, a lot of the Red Tops in Ireland today. The Independent, yes, the Irish Independent, and their headline is Suits Replace Stars, and it's the headline there, and the story about the RTE annual report and the fact that 9 out of the top 10 earners in RTE now comes from management. In other words, the suits over the stars or the talent. The talent no longer the top paid people in RTE. It is the executives and the suits behind the scenes. 9 out of 10 last year, the exception there being Claire Byrne, but she is no longer on the payroll. She's moved off to News Talk, so they really cut the salaries there. And has there been a talent drain? Well, we'll have to see how it affects ratings and stuff like that, but they really cut back. I think they put a limit of 250,000 or thereabouts as the cap for talent. So it truly is the case that the suits are replacing the stars. Next year you'll see no star, no talent, no on-air talent in the top 10, as it will be all the suits that dominate the top 10 of the most paid. So that report from RTE gets published today, we're told. A lot of talk about that. Now, the other big story, as alluded to, there's a horrible story, and you'd never expect this kind of thing to happen. It was a church stabbing, yeah. 3 of the papers have this as their main headline today, including the Irish Daily Star. He lunged at her with knife in church is the headline in today's Irish Daily Star. And as I say, many of the papers cover it in some shape or form. A woman is in intensive care after a man stabbed her as she said her prayers in the local church yesterday. We were told she was leading the rosary, and this totally random attack. He was unknown to her. A man in his 30s has been arrested. I think he's in court today. It happened in Tramore, County Waterford, and they were praying the rosary. As I said there, I think she was calling the rosary. It's a nice tradition that they have in the churches around Ireland, where in the morning just before the 10 o'clock mass someone leads the rosary and the others chime in. Well, while that was going on yesterday in Tramore, as I say, what makes the story all the more remarkable is the fact that this attack happened in a church, and the guy was known to people in the church from being in the church, but we don't know too much more about him at this point. That lady who was attacked in her 50s, I think, a well-known parishioner, nice lady, and in hospital now in intensive care, presumably fighting for her life. But a horrible, dreadful story to be dominating the front pages of some of the newspapers, and certainly well covered in some shape or form, as we say, in all of the papers today. So not a very nice tragedy. The other papers as well. The Examiner has a nice picture of King Kevin Keegan, who the great footballer and football manager who passed away on Monday. We just found that out after going off the air on Monday. So we were sad to learn of Kevin's passing, given that I am officially a Newcastle fan and spent time living in that city. I used to live in a little town, I think it was called Bolden, many, many moons ago, halfway between Sunderland and Newcastle. Two very... Two rival teams there. Sunderland is once managed by Roy Keane, by the way, and then Newcastle, which was once managed by King Kevin. But anyway, we were bang smack in the middle of the two, so we had a lot of staff, some that came from Sunderland and some that came from Newcastle. It was almost a full-time job keeping them at bay when the teams were playing and whatnot, and absenteeism and all the rest of it spiked when their teams were in action. But they take their football real serious in that part of the world, and so infectious you couldn't help but get drawn in, and great pubs around St James's Park as well. But anyway, flowers and Newcastle shirts have been left in tribute to Kevin Keegan at St James's Park. Fans, lots of pictures of them on the paper today, and lots of people mourning and tributes from various people. He was a giant of football. Kevin Keegan was planning, according to the Irish Daily Star, an emotional return to his beloved Newcastle United before his tragic death from cancer. King Kev, as he was affectionately known, was set to be the special guest at next season's opening game against his old club, Liverpool, at St James's Park on August the 22nd. So there you go. And even Alex Ferguson weighed in and paid a lovely tribute to his former rival. He said he had the utmost respect for his fierce rival, and there you go. And say lots of pictures and lots of coverage on the death of Kevin Keegan, King Kev, who passed away on Monday from a cancer diagnosis. I believe he was 75 years old. And as I was saying as well, the other story that dominates the papers, if it's not the tragedy in Tramore, it's the British Prime Minister or the e-scooter ban. And I see Simon Harris is warning parents in Ireland that they shouldn't even think about buying an e-scooter now, for the youngsters are treating it as a toy. And he warned parents to stop buying them and warned retailers not to try and circumvent the law and stuff like that in terms of selling them to underage. Legislation has to be come into effect yet, but the plan is for under 18-year-olds not to be allowed to ride these dangerous motorised e-scooters that have resulted in so many injuries and fatalities as well in this country, but particularly injuries is the number one cause now for youngsters going into the emergency rooms here in this country, and he's warning parents about those traumatic head injuries and warning retailers on their obligation to obey the rules going forward. And there's a lot of other rules associated with them as well. Riders of these things will have to now have helmets. In the past they didn't need to, and high-vis jackets and all of the rest of it. So it's a story that continues to get a lot of newspaper space and a lot of people talking about it. And the ban coming into effect for now for under 18-year-olds, but it could be that it could be extended to a full ban if this does not change things and if things do not improve after a period of time following its introduction. So that's the front pages of the papers. If you want to see them yourself, go to thedailycrack.com. We have a link there. You can check it out yourself. Better wash the car today, because you won't be able to wash it tomorrow. Yeah, got bad news for hosepipe users across the country. Uisce Éireann has issued a nationwide water conservation order for, it's going to be for over a month, and it's coming into effect this weekend for every county as far as I understand. And up until now, it was for 6 counties, and it was in effect through close to the end of August anyway. But anyway, the water regulatory body warned that the order will come into effect in every county starting tomorrow and will remain in place until August the 26th. There is, as you know, an order in place already for Dublin, South Tipperary and parts of Kildare, Meath, Wexford and Wicklow. The nationwide extension is being introduced to help protect public water supplies now and in the months ahead for homes, businesses, farms, hospitals, vulnerable customers and essential services. So there you go. A nationwide ban, hosepipe ban for an entire month. So the outlook is, it seems to be for rather nice weather and dry weather and I suppose drier than normal, let's put it that way, and warmer than normal, which is good news for the outdoor activities and all that's happening across the country, and there is lots happening. It's going to be a nice weekend for all that's happening in Dublin with the GA, the football finals and stuff like that. But there's other things going on as well with the International Arts Festival in Galway. And of course, next week is the Galway races, and that usually gets rained out. So hopefully, on the one side, you have the concerns about water shortages and capability of treating the water to meet demand. And then on the other hand, all the events that's going on that love to have the dry weather. So that's the challenge. So to meet that challenge, a hosepipe ban going into effect for all of the country. So wash the car today, because the snitch line is in effect, and that's the hotline that's been set up for anybody who wants to snitch on their neighbour who has or is breaching the hosepipe ban. Although we don't tend to snitch on our neighbours here in this country, but there'll be always one or two. But be cognizant of all of that, as we say, a hosepipe ban for the entire country now coming into effect from tomorrow. One of those such events that will be taking place, by the way, is coming up in Belfast real soon, and I'm talking about the Fleadh Cheoil. Yes, friends, it is in Belfast this year, would you believe? And that indeed is a wonderful thing. And Oliver did his programme from Belfast today, and it was very, very enjoyable. There was live music performances, and it was, I suppose, we often look at Belfast, or at least I do, and I think of Belfast, I think of it through the prism of the past and through the Troubles and that kind of, I suppose, perspective. But Oliver brought a fresh and, I suppose, more futuristic looking at it from a modern day perspective and its promise and so much potential that the city has. So, you know, it was nice listening to Oliver today and getting kind of a different take on on the city that we don't really know a whole lot about, and it's had a bad rap over the years because of the Troubles. And I have to say, Oliver, on his programme today, you can listen back to it on the RT Player, but brought a fresh perspective to all of that, and I thought it was refreshingly good. Now, talking about the Fleadh, passengers on the train from Dublin to Belfast yesterday, they were treated to, well, quite the treat, weren't they? Dublin to Belfast rail passengers were treated to a surprise trad session ahead of the Fleadh, and the live music on the 10:50am express service yesterday morning featured acclaimed flute and tin whistle player Brian Finnegan, world-leading bodhrán player Amy Farrell Courtney, and folk and trad group Stonewall Band. So the session then ended with a flourish at Grand Central Station, the big train station there in Belfast, where the All-Ireland champion Arlene McCarroll performed a Sean Knows dance, and Stonewall, the trad band, played music, and everybody had a grand old time there stomping around at, boy, how the times have changed. It's lovely to see an exhibition of Irish dance and Shannos dancing at the Belfast Central Station. And as I say, that's exactly what happened yesterday, and next month they'll be rolling out the red carpet for the world's, as you said, largest celebration of Irish music, language and dance from August the 2nd to the 9th. That's right, friends, Flacchiol rolls into town 2nd to the 9th of August, and it's in Belfast this year, and it's a festival that brings out a lot of people, and it's always an amazingly good time. Anywhere there's good traditional Irish music, there's happiness and smiles and feel good. The feel good factor goes off the chart. We're told as the only UNESCO City of Music in Ireland, Belfast is preparing to welcome about 800,000 visitors for the world's largest celebration of traditional Irish music and dance. And across Belfast, Fleadh Fever will be impossible to miss, with the city's music scene taking centre stage throughout the week, and there'll be intimate traditional sessions in pubs and neighbourhoods and venues, also headline events as well. There are big stages, from big stages to small stages to the sessions in the pubs. It promises to be a wonderful week of traditional Irish music. And listen to Oliver today. The city has so much to offer, and it's a thriving, it's doing well these days, let's put it that way. And it's lovely to see it, and it's a city that's right on our doorstep. And as I say, we don't really think about it that much, really. We think about going south to Cork or down to Galway or a place like that, but Belfast has a lot to offer. And of course the Titanic Museum, which is the biggest visitor attraction, if not in the north of Ireland, if not in Ireland, certainly the north of Ireland. They get thousands and thousands and thousands of visitors there to a wonderful museum and exhibition of the Titanic, where she was built all those years ago. And I love the t-shirts that they have up there that says, on the back of the t-shirts, it says, she was alright when she left here. There you go. She wasn't alright though by the time she didn't make it, her maiden voyage. We know what happened there, but you can relive all of that, and the hull of the Titanic is created, and it's a wonderful exhibition. And as I say, it's no wonder that it's getting so much traction, and so many, as I say, the biggest visitor attraction in Northern Ireland, if not the entire island of Ireland. So that's Belfast, the Flacchiol coming there next month. And Oliver there this morning in advance of all of that, warming things up, and you'll be seeing and hearing lots of stuff on your social media feeds from the Fleadh over the coming, coming week or two, or the coming in the near future. How about we put it that way? Now, I was reading in the paper today that Gilbert O'Sullivan is still on tour, and I was delighted to see it. I recently kind of just rediscovered Gilbert O'Sullivan, or maybe just discovered him. He's really Ireland's answer to Elton John, isn't he? An amazing performer, and the more I check out his stuff, it's quite remarkable. He's an outstanding performer. Gilbert O'Sullivan has announced a brand new tour with guitarist Bill Shanley as he commemorates his 60-year music career. Yeah, the Irish singer-songwriter. He's 79 now, and he shot to fame way back in the 70s with his breakthrough hit Nothing Rhymed. And he's also known for tracks such as Alone Again, Claire and Get Down, and Margaret's favourite, Matrimony. Margaret couldn't be with us today because she's off to the north of Ireland. She's up in Enniskillen today, taking in that lovely part of the world, and a lovely part of the world it is. I've never been there, but it's really beautiful. But anyway, getting back to Gilbert O'Sullivan, the Waterford-born star will return to the stage in late 2026 for a 3-month tour across Ireland and the UK. And as I say, he is celebrating 60 years. He's got a great Christmas song as well. We can't play that on the radio now, but we'll play it at Christmas, and we added it to our Christmas playlist last year. I just discovered it, and I discovered it thanks to Paul Sullivan out there in Boston, who plays great Irish music as part of his Irish Hit Parade. We have portions of it here on Global Irish Radio at the weekend. Check that out. Check out our complete schedule at globalarishradio.com, GIR.ie. But great music from Boston with Paul Sullivan, and he picks out some amazing tunes, the kind of songs that come on the radio and you're listening, it's like, who is that? Or I really like that song, I got to look it up. And that often happens to me when I'm listening to Paul's program from Boston. So one of the songs was the Christmas song, I'm Not Dreaming of a White Christmas. Bit early, I know, to be talking about Christmas, but there you go. Or is it? Maybe it's not. Tom Flannery was telling me that, and he sent me a picture of the Grim Reaper and all of the Halloween costumes that have been on display now in stores in Chicago for quite some time, weeks at this point. So there you go. It's only right around the corner. But anyway, there you go. That's Gilbert O'Sullivan at the age of 79, still going strong, much like his contemporaries, the likes of the Rolling Stones, and I see Barry Manilow's back on stage at back in Vegas, and but there you go, Gilbert Sullivan, a true Irish legend. Watch out for him. He comes from the city of Waterford here in this great country of ours. So there you go. Some of the some of the story, a taster of what's happening here in Ireland. And you listen to the Daily Crack with myself, Sean G. And speaking of Gilbert, I think let's take a little bit of music from the great Gilbert O'Sullivan and his big hit over the years, and then we'll be back to talk a wee bit more. In the meantime, let's tell you, dailycrack.com, great way to start your day. And here's Gilbert.
If I give up the seat I've been saving to some elderly lady, oh man, am I being a good boy? Am I your pride and joy? Mother, please, if you please, say I am. And if while in the course of my duty I perform an unfortunate tape, would you punish me so unbelievably so? Never again will I make that mistake. This feeling inside me could never deny me the right to be wrong if I choose. And this pleasure I get from, say, winning a bet is to lose. When I'm drinking my Bonaparte shandy, eating more than enough apple pies, will I glance at my screen and see real human beings starved to death right in front of my eyes? Nothing old, nothing new, nothing ventured, nothing gained, nothing stillborn or lost, nothing further than proof, nothing wilder than you, nothing older than time, nothing sweeter than wine, nothing physically, recklessly, hopelessly blind, nothing I couldn't say, nothing why cost today, nothing rhyme. Inside me could never deny me the right to belong if I choose. And this pleasure I get from, say, winning a bet is to lose. Nothing good, nothing bad, nothing ventured, nothing gained, nothing stillborn or lost, nothing further than proof, nothing wilder than you, nothing older than time, nothing sweeter than wine, nothing physically, recklessly, hopelessly blind, nothing I couldn't say, nothing why cost today, nothing rhyme.
Listening to Sean G on Global Irish Radio.
Hello, all you Global Irish Radio listeners out there, wherever you may be. It's myself, Finbar, here in beautiful northern Colorado, inviting you along to the Raggle Taggle Celtic Folk Show, streaming here live every Monday and Friday evening at 10 p.m. Irish time, where you're guaranteed to hear some rare old recordings from the old country and beyond. And it's all here on globalirishradio.com, the home of the Raggle Taggle. Listen to the Raggle Taggle on Global Irish Radio.
That's right, friends. This Daily Crack with me, Sean G, here on Global Irish Radio, and Finbar back tomorrow night with another edition of the Raggle Taggle, not to be missed. Old rare recordings, and say that you wouldn't find anywhere else. And before that, the amazing, the legendary Gilbert O'Sullivan, 79 years old, still going strong, and his big hit from over the years, way back the years, Nothing Rhymed. He's got lots of other great hits as well. Check him out if you've kind of forgotten about him like I had, and watch out for him coming to a venue near you in the very near future. Alrighty. We're live, friends. It's the Daily Crack coming to you from just outside Castlebar in lovely County Mayo. A very red and green Mayo this Wednesday before All Ireland Day, and a lot of excitement right across. We're a happy bunch, let's put it that way. And the weather seems to be cooperating. It's a little bit chillier than last week, but it's a nice fresh breeze, and there's plenty of sunshine as well. So no excuses for not getting out there, and no excuses for being in a bad mood. Now, speaking of bad moods or good moods, or getting your day off to a good start, a great start even, the best start possible, a shower and a coffee is the nation's favourite way of starting their day. And that's a poll that found that more than 4 in 10 of us prefer to shower in the morning, beating baths, and others go for a bit of a wash the old face and stuff like that. But anyway, coffee and the shower is the best way to start the day, and most people, that's the answer they gave in a recent hotel, was it the Holiday Inn hotel group that did, I don't know why they wanted to know this, but they wanted to know this, and they went about asking people all about it, and it turns out the winning combination to get your day off to a flying start is a shower and a coffee. And what's interesting, 47% of us check the phone within 5 minutes of waking up. I would say it's even sooner than that for a lot of people. The other interesting statistics to come out of it was only 34% say they get up immediately when the alarm goes off. Most people, 26%, well, a bunch of people, 26% hit the snooze at least once or twice, and more stay in the bed even longer. But there you go, I'll be included in that category. The Holiday Inn Express they commissioned the research for whatever reason they did it. And the other interesting thing that I thought came out of this survey was that coffee has beaten out tea now as the morning brew of choice, 36% to 32%. So there you go, coffee overtaking the old cup on tea or tool in this country. And the shower and the coffee is the winning combination. I would add one other thing in there to make it an even better day. Grab your coffee after your shower and sit down to the Daily Crack. Check out thedailycrack.com. Get set up for the day. We have everything you need to know on there. We got the weather. We got a link to the newspapers. You can listen to what it says in the papers. You can check out what's trending in Ireland. And you can check out what people are Googling. All essential stuff to get your day off to a winning start. So there you go. Don't take my word for it. Take the Holiday Inn Express and their hotels and resorts, who commissioned this invaluable research, which I'm sure will help you with your life. Now, all right, it's the Daily Crack to say. Check it out. There's also a link to the most recent podcast and all the previous podcasts of this show as well. So it doesn't matter if you don't catch us live. You can catch us later. But give us a follow on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And the other thing is, we want you to download the Global Irish Radio app and take it with you, and you can listen to Global Irish Radio wherever you go. Great programs coming your way throughout the rest of today and throughout the rest of the week. Want to mention Oliver Lee is coming to you from New Zealand, Auckland, New Zealand, right after this broadcast at the top of the hour with Oliver's Hour. Keep me up to speed on Oliver's world and all that's happening in New Zealand, and his take on events back here in Ireland. Sports news, all of that nice stuff. It's an interesting hour of radio, and comes to you courtesy of Oliver Lee and the Hugh Green Group out there in New Zealand. All right. If you're looking for something to watch on the old television tonight, here's one that we're picking out for you. Now, it's not the kind of... It's not a happy place it's an eye-opener in many, let's call it a spade a spade. It's downright depressing, and it's going to take you back to a time in Ireland that was not our finest hour, I think is the best way to put it. It's a documentary. It's called Testimony. And I was listening to one of the people featured in this documentary on the radio last night on Matt Cooper, and she was telling her story, how she was born in a mother and baby home and taken from her mom at the age of 2.5 years. But anyway, let's see what they're saying here in the paper about this documentary. As I say, it's on RTE tonight at 9:35 p.m. And it tells the story of an extraordinary group of women whose battle to hold the government to hold them accountable for the abuses of the Magdalene laundries, the baby home, mother and baby home institutions, and the forced family separations that took them all the way to the UN to get justice. So it kind of chronicles that journey that journey seeking justice, I suppose the way to put it. It includes incredibly moving testimony from survivors, while central to the narrative is justice for Magdalene's and that campaign for justice as well. So it's an interesting piece. It's not a happy place by any account, but it is very informative and kind of heartbreaking at times. And listen to that poor lady telling her story last night, and you couldn't help but think, you know, you think back and you think of, we often hear of human trafficking, and we think what an awful thing it is, and there's lots of movies about it and there's lots of stories. We hear horrible stories about it, but when you think about back our own history here in this country, and you see that we presided over the biggest human trafficking operation probably in the history of the world, certainly in this country anyway, and this part of the hemisphere, in the sense that the church and the state colluded, and they literally took babies from mothers and sold them to rich Americans. That's what happened. And the moms were told that or the kids rather, were told that their parents were dead. And we've seen it in the movie Philomena, and the countless other documentaries and movies that have been made about that horrible chapter in Irish history. And call a spade a spade. The church and the state were in collusion, and that's what this documentary is all about. It's the stories of some of those people and their quest for, I suppose, for justice and reparation, and they're well entitled to reparation. When you think about, a lot of these people are still alive. A lot of these, the survivors of the mother and baby homes, but it's a heartbreaking tale of injustice and all of the rest of it. And you see that women were forced into slave labour and stuff like that. It's awful stuff. You think that this was, the people that are supposed to be helping you in society, the church is number one, and then the state number two. And the reality was these two outfits were colluded to traffic babies, sell babies to, as I say, rich American couples who couldn't have their own babies. And this particular lady that I'm referring to, and is featured in the documentary tonight, one of the lead people, she talks about having been sold to an elderly couple like she was an animal or something like that, and how they abused her physically and all the rest of it. And eventually the nuns came in and they took her back and they gave her off to a friend of the nuns who happened to be looking for her. I mean, like it was literally a commodity. And that is our history, friends, and that is captured in that documentary tonight. Testimony, as I say, human trafficking at its worst by the state and by the church way back all those years ago, and there are awful tales coming out of it. So watch that tonight. If you don't get to see it tonight, it'll be on the player for a little bit of time, but I warn you, it's not a happy place, but it's very real, let's put it that way. Now, a happier place is a family-run store in County Kerry. We have to have a Kerry story on the programme today. We haven't stopped talking about Mayo all day. But anyway, this is a different... I told you on Monday that somebody won the lottery yet once again, and there's another millionaire courtesy of our Irish National Lottery. This time the winner is down there in Kerry somewhere, and in a little village near Skellig Michael. Actually, it's where the folks from Star Wars were based when they were doing their filming. Remember, they included Skellig Michael. Well, that's the town in which they based themselves in. So there was the shop in the town there. They sold a quick pick on whenever it was at the weekend, and it turned out to be a winner. And they're now looking for the winner. Mark Conway, who owns the shop and has owned the shop since 2003, was delighted to hear the good news at the weekend. And he said himself and his wife, they took over the shop from the family way back in 2003. They sold a previous winner for about $156,000 in 2022. So the store has a lucky reputation. And now this latest one for $1 million, but they haven't come forward. So they're looking for the winner of this. Check your numbers if you're down in Kerry. I know you're probably glued to the GAA coverage in anticipation of another win for the Kingdom. But if you get a chance, check your lottery ball, the numbers, because somebody is sitting on $1 million in Kerry. So the word from the National Lottery is check your numbers. Now, here's a rather disturbing story from, I think, everybody's perspective, but particularly musicians. AI has taken over the music industry. Shock figures are now showing. That's right, streaming services, the likes of Spotify, those big streaming services that are screwing artists these days. They give them a few pennies and they make a mint. But anyway, well, that's how the musicians will tell you it is. But streaming services are now getting more songs created by the Texent basically AI songs, music created by tech sent to their platform than real tunes. So AI generated music, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Music that's generated by computers, in other words. And the firm, Deezer, said that it is now receiving 90,000 AI tracks a month, which is outpacing songs produced by human crooners, the likes of Taylor Swift or Madonna or your favourite singer. And bosses are increasingly stepping in to axe robot tunes used for rip-off streaming fraud. So basically cheeky people are using the AI to generate realistic songs in the style of popular artists to try and earn money off the back of their success. And the streaming companies, apparently they're onto them and they're cracking down on it. They're trying to scam the system. They're trying to rip off existing tunes and get streams and get paid for it as a result. But since the streaming companies are so cheap, they're probably not going to get too rich anyway. But the encouraging part of that story is that these streaming platforms, the likes of Spotify, do have the technology to kind of crack down on this kind of stuff, and they do have safeguards, and they're aware of the situation, and they're trying to do something about it. Because, you know, there's enough starving musicians out there without the AI and the tech thing taking over and taking money out of their pockets and bread off their table. So we hope that they can get a grip or a handle on that particular situation. Yes, we do. Okay, what else we got going on for you this Wednesday? Yes, it's still Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. This is a story. This is another Kerry story now, since we're balancing the second half of the programme with Kerry stories. This is a story lots of people say could only happen in Ireland. I would have thought that when you'd hear this, you'd think Knock Airport would be more likely the story to feature in this particular story. But it's a Kerry airport, and it's about the what you'll find streaming on their television screens in the airport on a Sunday morning. It's a nice story. Forget the last minute duty free shopping. Passengers flying out of one Kerry airport on Sunday are being given the chance to attend Mass before they take off. Remember, during the pandemic, everybody started watching Mass on their screens. And speaking of that, on our very own website, globalirishradio.com, we link you to all the live streamed Masses here in Ireland, or most of them anyway. So if you're abroad in Sydney or wherever you are in the world and you want to stay connected with home or maintain connection, you can watch your local service via the website there, and the streaming, the churches that are participating in the streaming of their services. Many of them are doing that now, and as I say, churchtv.ie is the link. We have it on our website, and you can stay connected with home through Sunday morning church services. But anyway, one traveller at Kerry Airport was very pleasantly surprised after spotting Sunday Mass being broadcast live on a television screen in the airport's departure lounge as passengers waited to board the flights. The unusual sight quickly caught attention online, with many saying it was the most Irish thing they've ever seen. So there you go. Instead of rolling news or sports highlights, the screen showed the religious service, allowing those travelling to follow the Mass without leaving the terminal. And for Catholic passengers, it offered an opportunity to keep up a long-standing Sunday tradition before jetting off on a holiday, heading overseas or on business or anything like that. So a nice little story there, and nice to see that the Sunday church services are still relevant and still getting streamed in some parts of the world, and particularly down there at that Kerry airport. So while airport departure lounges say, the more commonly filled with the flight updates, the screens that you see there and all the other things going on in the world, usually bad news. In Kerry on a Sunday morning, it'll be Mass. So there you go. How's about that? And this past weekend, Knock Basilica celebrated 50 years. There's a big celebration over there, and I thought it coincidental, or maybe not coincidental, but I couldn't help but ponder the idea that it might be. Father Frank Fahey, who was the longtime priest or parish priest or Monsignor over there for many, many moons after Monsignor James Horn, he passed away this past weekend. Just as Knock celebrated its 50th anniversary of its basilica, and you wonder, is there a connection there, or is it just a freaky coincidence? But there you go. Make one of that what you will, my friends. There's lots and lots of Kerry tunes and Mayo tunes, and people are singing them to us, and some of them are good and some of them are bad. We'll try and include some of them on the Daily Crack on Friday. How's about that? People have been sending and telling. Everywhere you look, everybody in Mayo seems to have a Mayo song out for this All-Ireland final, and lots of them are singing them on the radio for local radio, Midwest Radio, featuring a lot of them on their live broadcast today. And as you say, there's lots of Kerry songs as well, and we've received some of them. So we'll try and include the best for at least one from each county on Friday's edition of the Daily Crack. Some of them are good, some of them are awful, but isn't that always the way it is? And Ferguson is one that I particularly liked. Relates missed last week's the hurling final. And Limerick, of course, were the victors there. But the folks at Today FM and the Ian Dempsey Breakfast Show put together a nice piece and featuring, you know, everything that's quintessentially Limerick, I think it's fair to say, including their Fianna Fáil minister, or former minister, Willie O'D, who's got that uniquely Limerick accent. So here's a piece that they put together. And Cranberries, the biggest musical expert from Limerick, obviously, and their dream song, doctored to feature, I suppose, a take on Willie O'D. So you put them all in the mix. Limerick in the All Ireland hurling final, their famous minister and famous politician, Fianna Fáil TD Willie O'D, and the Cranberries. This is what you get, friends.
And his violence will cause silence. He'll just stand there grinning. Lift it! Barry Nash, Morrissey, Nicky Quaid, Hegarty. On the field, they are fighting. Come on! With their pints and their goals and their frees and their goals off the field. He is laughing. Finish it! He's in your head. Kylie. He's in their head. Galbraith's head.
There you go. Nice piece there from the folks at JFM, maybe Knob Nation. And their take, their Limerick song, and of course Limerick proving really unbeatable last week against Galway, and going down in history now as one of the great hurling teams of all time to match their friends over there in Kilkenny. But a nice piece there, nice take on all of that. Anyway, before we say fare thee well for today, it's a big day at the National Museum, in the National Wax Museum in Dublin tomorrow. And why is that, you might be asking? Well, it's because they're going to unveil a new Sinead O'Connor. And you remember the last time what happened. It didn't go too well. The National Wax Museum in Dublin is set to unveil another Sinead O'Connor figure on Thursday, tomorrow, after the original figure was unveiled in 2024. I remember we covered it here on the programme. The original one didn't look anything like Sinead O'Connor. The new Sinead O'Connor figure has been created following a process of careful consideration, research and craftsmanship, the museum said on Friday. And probably after a period of reflection on their poor attempt last year. But anyway, the original Sinead O'Connor wax figure was commissioned by the museum's director Paddy Dunning and crafted by BJ Hegarty for what was his final contribution to the museum. Well, that was the one before that now was his final contribution to the museum, because they had to turf that one out because it didn't look anything like Sinead. And anybody who's seen it, there was huge pushback online at the time, if you recall. And Sinead O'Connor's brother, John O'Connor, at the time said it was a cross between a mannequin and a thunderbird. And whilst he didn't want to, offend the artist, it was hideous, is essentially what he said. So that being said, it wasn't on display for maybe more than 24 hours when the museum decided to take it away, take it down and throw it in the garbage, and promised another Sinead O'Connor figure. So what have they got it right this year? Well, that'll be unveiled tomorrow and we're looking forward to seeing that. So keep an eye out for that one. A new figure at the Wax Museum, and hopefully, as I say, better than the last one. Anyway, friends, you've been listening to Daily Crack, dailycrack.com. Tomorrow's Thursday. We won't be here. Friday we will be here at 3 o'clock. Our new schedule: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. When we are not here, you can keep up with all that's going on in Mother Ireland, the lighter side of the news, the chitter chatter of the nation, the top trending stories, the headlines, all of that good stuff at thedailycrack.com. And you can listen to this programme on there as well. Podcasts, the podcast will be up later on today as well. So it's a gateway to a world of crack. We have the best crack in Ireland. That's pretty much our lot for today. We'll be back, as I say, Friday, and stay well and spread the good word. dailycrack.com and globalirishradio.com, GIR.ie. Great programs coming your way throughout the rest of today. Stay tuned, because right after we're off the air, we're going to link up with Oliver Lee in Auckland, New Zealand. Later on tonight, Jim Corbett from the studios in Bundoran, County Donegal, with the Jim Corbett Radio Show, and Tom back tonight live at 8 o'clock with Tom's Irish Radio Show. tom@gir.ie for requests and dedications. And we shall also link up with, it's Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. I keep thinking it's Thursday. Today's Wednesday. It sounds Irish between 6 to 8 with David Marks from Glasgow. But we shall leave you with a song that's on the lips of many, many Mayo people today, and we'll see you back here on Friday. Have a great rest of your day. It's the Saw Doctors to Win Just Once.
Oh, one more thing. Mayo for Sam! Mayo for Sam!
To win just once would be